Ethiopia, officially known as the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, is a sovereign state located in the Horn of Africa. It shares a border with Eritrea to the north and northeast, Djibouti and Somalia to the east, Sudan and South Sudan to the west, and Kenya to the south. With nearly 100 million inhabitants, Ethiopia is the most populous landlocked country in the world, as well as the second most populous nation on the African continent after Nigeria. It occupies a total area of 1,100,000 square kilometers, and its capital and largest city is Addis Ababa. Some of the oldest evidence for anatomically modern humans has been found in Ethiopia, which is widely considered the region from which modern humans first set out for the Middle East and places beyond. According to linguists, the first Afro-Asiatic-speaking populations settled in the Horn region during the ensuing Neolithic era. Tracing its roots to the 2nd millennium BC, Ethiopia was a monarchy for most of its history. During the 1st centuries AD, the Kingdom of Aksum maintained a unified civilization in the region, followed by the Ethiopian Empire circa 1137. Ethiopia derived prestige with its uniquely successful military resistance during the late 19th century scramble for Africa, becoming the only African country to defeat a European colonial power and retain its sovereignty. Subsequently, many African nations adopted the colors of Ethiopia's flag following their independence. It was the first independent African member of the 20th Century League of Nations and the United Nations. In 1974, at the end of Haile Selassie's reign, power fell to a communist military dictatorship known as the Derg, backed by the Soviet Union, until it was defeated by the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, which has ruled since about the time of the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Ethiopia is a multilingual nation with around 80 ethno-linguistic groups, the four largest of which are the Oromo, Amhara, Somali, and Tigrayans. Most people in the country speak Afro-Asiatic languages of the Cushitic-Semitic branches. Additionally, Omotic languages are spoken by ethnic minority groups inhabiting the southern regions. Nilo-Saharan languages are also spoken by the nation's Nilotic ethnic minorities. Ethiopia is the place of origin for the coffee bean, which originated from the place called Kefa. It is a land of natural contrasts, with its vast fertile west jungles, and numerous rivers, and the world's hottest settlement of Dalol in its north. The Ethiopian highlands are Africa's largest continuous mountain ranges, and SKopp caves contain Africa's largest cave. Ethiopia has the most UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Africa. Ethiopia's ancient GEZ script, also known as Ethiopic, is one of the oldest alphabets still in use in the world. The Ethiopian calendar, which is approximately 7 years and 3 months behind the Gregorian calendar, coexists alongside the Barana calendar. A slight majority of the population adheres to Christianity, while around a third follows Islam. The country is the site of the migration to Abyssinia and the oldest Muslim settlement in Africa at Nagash. A substantial population of Ethiopian Jews, known as Bet Israel, resided in Ethiopia until the 1980s, but most of them have since gradually emigrated to Israel. Ethiopia is one of the founding members of the UN, the Group of 24, the Non-Aligned Movement G77, and the Organization of African Unity. Ethiopia's capital city Addis Ababa serves as the headquarters of the African Union, the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, African Aviation Training HQ, the African Standby Force, and much of the global NGOs focused on Africa. In the 70s and 80s, Ethiopia suffered from civil wars and communist purges which devastated its economy. The country has begun to recover recently, however, and now has the largest economy in East Africa and Central Africa. According to Global Firepower, Ethiopia has the 42nd most powerful military in the world, and the 3rd most powerful in Africa. Names. The Greek name Alpha Theta Iota Omicron Pi Iota Alpha is a compound word derived from the two Greek words from Alpha Theta Omega plus Psi, meaning burned face. Thus, the name Alpha Theta Iota Omicron Psi is a reference to the Aborigines' appearance, of which the mythological explanation is given by the story of Phaethon. In a nutshell, he caused the sun to fall onto the continent of Africa, thus burning the Aborigines and creating the deserts. The name Alpha Theta Iota Omicron Pi Iota Alpha appears twice in the Iliad and 3 times in the Odyssey. The Greek historian Herodotus specifically uses it for all the lands south of Egypt, including Sudan and modern Ethiopia. Pliny the Elder said that the country's name comes from a son of Hephaestus named Ethiopes. Similarly, in the 15th century Ge'ez Book of Axum, the name is ascribed to a legendary individual called Djibouti, an extra-biblical son of Cush, son of Ham, said to have founded the city of Axum. In addition to this Cushite figure, 2 of the earliest Semitic kings are also said to have borne the name Ethiopes, according to traditional Ethiopian king lists. At least as early as c. 850, the name Ethiopia also occurs in many translations of the Old Testament, but the Hebrew texts have Cush, which refers principally to Nubia. In the New Testament, however, the Greek term Ethiops does occur, referring to a servant of Candace, possibly an inhabitant of Meroe, which was later conquered and destroyed by the kingdom of Axum. The earliest attested use of the name Ethiopia in the region itself is as a name for the kingdom of Axum in the 4th century. In stone inscriptions of Ezana of Axum, who first brought Christianity to the kingdom, in English and generally outside of Ethiopia, the country was also once historically known as Abyssinia, derived from Habesh, an early Arabic form of the Ethiopian Semitic name Abbaysat. The modern form Habesha is the native name for the country's inhabitants, the Habesha people. In a few languages, Ethiopia is still referred to by names cognate with Abyssinia, e.g., modern Arabic Kalabasha.